Hello everyone, welcome to this new lesson in this Katana tutorial series. So in this tutorial we are going to talk about the subdivision surface. So basically in Katana using Renderman, the subdivision surface is not a normal like Maya or Houdini. So basically in Maya, you can select a geometry and you need to change this to Capmo-Clark, and in Houdini you can just select the geometry and you need to click a button like this and it will turn that particular geometry into subdivision surface. But in Katana it doesn't work that way. So basically in Katana everything is attributes, so basically it stores everything as attributes. So basically in Katana the object type actually work as a polymesh. So if you open the object here, you can see now the type is subdimesh, because at this moment I have subdivided the mesh in render time. So if I render this now from here, let's include everything into the live render. Yeah, so as you can see here, everything is smooth and everything is properly subdivided. So actually the way we can subdivide in Katana is we need to deal with attributes. So that's the only way. So basically the concept is as you can see here, so these are the nodes that are responsible for subdividing these geometries. So in this case, as you can see here, I have gathered all the polymesh from this group, from the Remy group, so that it grabs all the polymesh and it converts everything into subdimesh. So if I resolve the scene graph from here, you can see the objects are polymesh, but if I resolve from here, now it changed into subdimesh. So that's how it works as a subdimesh here in this. So let's say let's disable this these two nodes, and as you can see here, so okay, let's stop the IPR and relaunch it to see it properly. So now as you can see here, everything is polymesh now. So this is now subdivided. So as you can see here, some artifacts happening here, and the mesh is not smooth. As you can see here, everything is blocky. So let's turn on the polymesh, the subdimesh attribute sets by pressing Alt D, and yeah, now you can see everything is subdimesh. And if I relaunch the IPR, now you can see everything is subdivided properly, and you can compare this with our old render using page up and page down button in the keyboard. So as you can see here, so now once you change the type to subdimesh, it works fine. So the actual way is, so at this moment I have so as you can see here, it doesn't select anything because as you can see here, now from this point everything turned into subdimesh. So that it doesn't select. So basically it actually execute what we want, but it doesn't select from here. So as you can see here, if I turn off this and if I disable this, now it becomes polymesh. So enable it, so now it becomes subdimesh. But when you try to select this, it doesn't select anything because it changed this to subdimesh. So it doesn't work here, so that way. So now the way you can change is, you need to select the geometries that you want your polymesh into subdimesh here, and then the attribute that we have to deal with is attribute the type. So you can see here, so this is the attribute. So basically the type attribute is, the attribute type is string. So if it is an integer, you need to type integer and type the value, integer value here, but this one is a string, as you can see here. So basically there will be a default attribute type that attached with all the geometries or all the data in Katana. So by default actually it is a subdimesh, it is a polymesh. By default it's a group node, group, so that it works this way. So now we have to change this to polymesh by using this attribute set, using this attribute name type, attribute type to string, and we need to type subdimesh here. If I change this to polymesh, now it became polymesh. So if I remove everything from here, So there's nothing here actually. If the type is empty, so it doesn't import anything into the scene. So we need to keep that in mind. So if we put any wrong information here, so it doesn't import, so it can't find this type. So we need to be mindful in that. So as you can see here, it works fine, but what is that second no? So basically this is the interpolate boundary. So if I turn this off and launch an IPR to see what it gives without this interpolate boundary. So as you can see here, so you can see some of the geometries doesn't have the proper edge loops. So for this is a modeling optimization, but it doesn't work that way. So in Maya usually it works fine. So basically you can see here, so we need to match the Maya's subdivision type here. So you can see here we have the subdivision scheme to camouflage. So by default this is how Katana and Renderman works. But this interpolation, so this is where we need to set. So this is what the interpolation boundary in Katana. So basically the input is 0 is no interpolation, 1 is sharp creases in corner, 2 sharp creases. So basically that's what we are doing here. Actually you can go to the Renderman documentation and find this attribute so that you can add this here, and you can see here geometry interpolate boundary is the attribute name according to the Renderman documentary. So here this is an integer type. So basically we need to set the index of these inputs. So yeah, so we are choosing 1 here, so that once you now enable it and launch the IPR, so it's just working fine. So if I change this to 0, it works with the default one, like the way we set this by default. So if I set this to 2, so yeah, it works fine too, but I'm not sure this will affect our UV or something like that. But 1 works fine because that's what we are working in Maya. So cool. So that's how it works. Actually, if you look into the custom cell statements, so we have to be mindful in that, because we already converted our geometry into polymesh here. So now if you want to select all those meshes, you need to mention subdimesh. So if I find and display result here, you can see everything is selecting here. So yeah, that's how actually we work with subdivision surface. So yeah, that's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching.